Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Suga Snagz welcomes you back to the Run It Back podcast. We are now into episode number 17, and what a podcast we have for you today. I'm super excited for our special guest, and even more excited to introduce her. But first, as per usual, I should introduce my co-host, DL. How are we?
Mate, I'm good. What a great podcast we have for our listeners today. Not only do we have someone that's already achieved so much in her Muay Thai career, but now making massive waves in her undefeated MMA career. Snags, please put me out of my misery. Who's on today's podcast?
Today on the Run It Back podcast, we have Australia's own, the one, the only, Chelsea the Hammer Hackett. Chelsea, welcome to the podcast.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
We know you're only a week out from your fight, and I know it's a cliche question, but to start us off, how's the camp been for this fight?
Oh, the camp's been epic. I recently changed gyms, so I'm full-time under Puma, under Vince Perry on the Gold Coast. So this is officially my first MMA camp full-time under Vince, and it's been amazing. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better camp.
It's awesome. So with this camp, is a little bit different from the last one. You're saying you're full-time. How many days a week are you training at the moment?
Well, when I say I'm full-time, that just meant like I'm full-time at obviously another gym. I've always been training pretty much full-time my whole Muay Thai and MMA career. So I'm averaging I'll have up to 14 sessions a week. So anywhere between 12 and 14 per week is pretty hectic.
Mate, I felt tired watching your vlogs.
Oh, really?
I was telling Sean today that I was watching your vlogs, and the energy you're putting into that is amazing. That's definitely
I have to thank, for sure. I have to thank my partner for that, because he actually runs a marketing business, so videography and photography, and he just like pumps the best content. Hey, so
that is very handy.
Yeah, I do the work, but he edits. He's a legend at that, and he's so good at it. So, I mean, it's awesome, obviously, for me to keep my social media up and my content, like always putting good content out. So, yeah, I'm really lucky to have him with that.
Mate, I think that actually separates you a little bit from the pack, if I can call it that, because some of your content is really, really sharp. And one of the things we're kind of learning along the way with the podcast and putting our own content out there is that stuff actually really does matter.
Yeah, it really does. And that is something like I've always known that it's important, but not to the extent of like what I am realizing now, if you know what I mean. So like I was kind of always putting photos up and not thinking much about what I was posting and maybe like my captions and, you know, what I was putting out to my followers. And then, you know, as soon as I got on board with my manager, Reese, he kind of really, just spoke to me about content creation, and getting Jake, my partner, to help with that will just set me apart from the rest, is exactly what you said. So, yeah, a little bit of a gap there with fighters. I think you need to, you're a fighter, but you're also, you know, people want to see you live life, and especially females, they want to see that, you know, you can dress up, and you know what I mean?
Mate, you're basically doing everything at the moment. So you're fighting, dressing up, and then also running your own business at the moment as well, aren't you? Do you ever sleep?
I mean, yeah. But like the thing is, when I'm in fight camp, I'm just training and working. Hey, like my social life is just comes to a grinding halt. But that's exactly like how I need it. You know, I'm not going to force myself to change that. That's what I need to get in the zone and prepare for my fight. So, yeah, it is what it is. Like, it sucks sometimes, but I wouldn't change it.
It is probably cool that you do have your partner involved in that sort of stuff, because you can kind of cross over a little bit and you can still spend that time together when you are so busy, and you can create that content together.
Oh, 100%. Like, Jake runs his own business. So he actually works in the premises. So where my gym, like where I run HammerFit, upstairs we've got an office. My mum and dad work for a business in Sydney, so they actually work in the office above my gym, and Jake works up there as well. So I literally we actually spend a lot of time together, which is awesome. I teach class, I run PTs, I go upstairs he's working, I'll be like, hey babe, you want to just make me a highlight reel real quick?
Mate, that sounds
And
like what
he'll
I
do
say to
it.
Daniel all the time too.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, babe, like we need this to work, so let's get cracking on those highlight
Oh,
reels.
that's cool. Well,
So, and he'll literally do it within an hour, and he's like, oh yeah, like just check it, see if it's all right. And I'm just like gobsmacked every time. I'm like, how did you do that?
Yeah, he's a wizard. He's doing some good content at the moment, so big props to him at the moment.
Sean usually asks me on Tuesday, and I say I'll get it back to you next Monday.
It takes me about 7
Yeah,
days.
sometimes I feel bad. Like he's so busy at the moment with like other clients. And
Yeah.
sometimes he'll be like, come on, babe, like paid clients first. And I'm like, babe, I know, but like, please.
Come on,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah.
So I guess big segue there as we lead into us getting to the fight that you've got in a couple of weeks. I guess the listeners and the reason for the content is to get them to know Chelsea Hackett. So kind of where did it start?
Yeah, so my martial arts career started when I was 8 years old. I was super young. I wasn't actually into much sport before then, like at school or anything. And then my mum and dad went to like a taekwondo school, and they actually started first. Super weird. Like they were like, I don't know what went through their mind. Like I don't know why, to be honest, but they started first, and then within like a couple of weeks, they got me and my brother in on it as well. And my brother's older than me, so he was 10 at the time, and I was 8. And just started taekwondo, fresh white belt coming in, not knowing a thing. But I was hooked from the beginning. And then I did taekwondo from when I was 8 to when I was 12. And I went through the belt system, got to my junior black belt as well. So it was a huge achievement, obviously being so young. I didn't get like the second degree black belt, but I got the junior black belt. So after that, it was almost like, okay, like I've done this for 4 years. What's next? And, I was a little bit older. I'd say I was a little bit tubby. Like, yeah, I was definitely tubby. And I probably needed a bit more training than what I was getting.
It sounds like me at 13 as well.
It sounds like everyone at 13.
Seriously, I mean, come on. Like, I was eating whatever I wanted. I didn't care what I looked like. Like, that's a normal 13-year-old, or 12-year-old. So after that, I don't know whether my dad sussed out that I needed a new challenge or wanted to do something different. But he was actually a trainer at the Taekwondo gym as well. He was a third degree black belt. So he was actually teaching the classes that me and my brother were doing, and my mum. So it was pretty much like a family affair. We all did it together. We all graded for our belts together. And then mum unfortunately tore her ACL and she had to stop. Yeah, she did that in a taekwondo session, so she had to stop. But my mum's a beast. Like, if you ever see my Instagram or my Instagram stories, like I train her. She's in my classes every morning, and she's just a weapon. So, I've definitely got it from my mom. But Dad trained me since early taekwondo days, and then I got my black belt. We left taekwondo. Dad took me straight to a Muay Thai gym. Actually, to take a step back, before that, my dad is super into, it's called Chinese boxing. So it's like, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like street fighting. And, but like elbows, mostly elbows, like real close range fighting, elbows, knees, choke, everything you can think of that you can do still standing up, like that was him. He also did like knife fighting and stick fighting. Like he was crazy. He still is crazy. But so when I finished taekwondo, I remember he was running he ran a gym, so it was called Rice Horse Chinese Boxing, and just this massive group of like men, women, kids would just come. We were in a car, but like to start the gym off, we were actually in a car park. Like, that's where we were training. It was so gnarly. Like, we're just in a car park. Everyone comes out. Someone
tells me that they're a Chinese boxer, I'm just going to run away.
Dude, yeah, I would, But like we were in this car park, Dad would just pack the pads in his car, get them out, and there was like 20 to 30 of us. It was like a decent group. And, you know, when I left Taekwondo, Dad's like, oh, just start coming to the classes on a Monday and Wednesday. So I remember it so clearly. I rocked up to the first session and Dad goes, okay, put your headgear on. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing? He's like, put your headgear on and put your MMA gloves on. So here I am, a 12-year-old girl, headgear on, MMA gloves on. I was matched with this guy, and Dad's like, I just want you to, like, do whatever you want to do, like punch, elbow, knee. I just want to see, like, you know, let's just see what you got.
Yeah.
Like, and I went so ham, like, it was like this fire in my belly, and I was so angry and aggressive.
Wow.
Like, and I remember it was like a 2-minute round, and everybody just stopped what they were doing. And they were just like staring at me. And then after the round, I just went back into like my shy little girl, like took my headgear off. I was like, oh, I'm just going to drink. And even Dad was like, holy shit. Like, I don't think, seriously. And I didn't even know I had it. So that was like,
Wow,
I think that was the moment Dad's like, okay, we need to get her into something like a bit more competitive. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. And so I did that for about, I would say, 3 or 4 months. It wasn't that long. And then Dad took me to my first Muay Thai gym, which was Brinchu Gym. You've heard of Brinchu Gym, Wayne and Angie Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the Gold Coast. So that was actually the first gym I walked into. There was a fight gym. And I remember I walked in and I saw this chick boxing. She was doing like boxing pads. And I just was in absolute awe. Like, I was like, wow, she's amazing. Then I had a little talk to her, and she was like a professional boxer. And I was like, wow, like, you actually fight? And she's like, yeah. And that was just like, no way. Like, girls don't do that. I never even thought about it. Like, I didn't think about it like that. And then all of a sudden my eyes lit up and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Dad signed me up, did my first session, and I was like so addicted. It was
That's cool.
ridiculous, like to the point where I didn't want to go to school anymore. I just wanted to do Muay Thai. That was 9:30 a.m. sessions. I'd come home. I'm like, Dad, school starts at 8:30. Muay Thai's at 9. I'll go to school at 11.
Wait,
Like,
no, baby.
no joke. I was just like, come on, like, I'll just message. I'll tell the school, like, we'll email them.
How was Dad and Mum in that situation? They give you
Oh
a leave
no,
pass?
they were like, no way you were doing that.
Oh,
Like,
come on.
I mean, and because I hadn't proved myself yet, so I was just like, I just want to do this. Like, anyway, so I trained. I would go to school. That didn't happen. I'd have to do the full day, lol. So I'd go to school, and every afternoon just had my training gear in the car. Dad would drop me off. Dad would watch. Mum would watch. And then I was 6 months at Brinchu, and I remember Angie Parr came up to me and said, like, oh, do you want to fight? I was still 12 at the time. I think I was just about to turn 13.
Wow.
And I just looked at her, I was like, oh, like, I do. Like, I really do. And then she's like, I was like, do you think I'm ready? Like, I haven't been doing it that long. And obviously, like, she saw something in me.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have offered me, like, a fight so early, and because I was so young. So I was like, I just have to take it. Mum and Dad were so for it. They were so supportive. So, yeah, straight away, I was in camp for, like, my first fight.
Wow.
And it was, like, the most hectic first fight. Hey, I was up against this, like, really tough Kiwi chick.
Yeah.
So I just turned 13 and she was 16, turning
dang.
17.
Damn.
Yeah. It gets, like, there's some gnarly stories coming here. Like, holy crap, this is nothing. But, like,
How are you feeling rolling in, knowing she was like a couple of years older than you? Was she like much bigger than you, or obviously
yeah,
weight
she
class,
was
but-
she was heaps taller and wasn't as chubby. So there's the problem. Like, I was like, I had to wear a singlet in the fight because I was just like, oh, I'm too chubby. Like, I need to wear a singlet in my closet. But yeah, I prepped for that fight, and I actually still have like the weigh-in photo in my phone because I looked so scary at weigh-ins. Like, I was just, the eyes were in the corner, the eyeballs were in the corner of my eye, like my chin was down, like I just looked like a bitch. I was like, yeah, I seriously had it from the start. Like I was like, yeah, sweet. But by memory, like I got in there, I was fine. Like it was amateur, so headgear, shin pads, and I just remember the first round, and she came at me like a bull. Like I was just like, whoa, okay, but I handled it really well. Round 2 and 3, I was way more controlled, and I always I had that aggression from the start. I was very aggressive in that fight, so it's not like she was like do you know what I mean? It was very mixed. It was almost like if you were going to run at each other, that was the fight for the full 3 rounds. We were just running at each other. So it was like, it was great. Like, it was crazy, but it ended up being a draw, which was fine. I was like, well, at least I didn't lose.
Yeah.
And came out of the ring, and my mum's just standing there, like, and her eyes were like, so, what do you think? Like, you done? Are you going to keep going? And I was like, I loved it. Like, I was so obsessed, guys. Like, I was just like, get me in, back in there, ASAP. So, yeah, and then I had my second fight really soon after. And then, yeah, now we're here.
And then you go on from that and become a Muay Thai world champion of, what was it, 15 or 16?
I just turned 15. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Slight achievement in your life, of course.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting over here a 4-stripe white belt in jiu-jitsu, and you've won a world title at 15. I'll be 4 stripes for the rest of my life.
I mean, I'm not using white belts. I'm still a white belt.
Let's get something in common then. So I guess we go from there, and then you obviously went through the Muay Thai phase, and then you've gone into MMA a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. So I started BJJ. It would be 2 years ago now.
Yeah. How'd you go with that? When I started, I got full addicted to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was hooked straight away, and it was almost the same feeling as when I first started Muay Thai. And I think I was craving that a little bit. I'd done Muay Thai for quite a long time, and I was a very active fighter in Muay Thai. It wasn't like I was having breaks. I was fighting every year, multiple times. So I felt like I needed a new challenge. So I remember talking to my dad, and he was all for me, like doing cross training in jiu-jitsu, like meaning still fight Muay Thai, but just like do jiu-jitsu to make me stronger in the clinch and Muay Thai and stuff like that. And I remember going to my first session. Same thing. I just got home. So I was like, how'd you go? And I was like, oh my God, I love it. Like, I'm obsessed. He was like, oh, fuck, here we go. Like,
here we go.
I think he knew it straight away. Like, and then so I'd done it for maybe, same thing, like 5-6 months. And my BJJ coaches at the time were like, what do you think about having an MMA fight? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like,
sure, jump in there.
Why not? Like, I've loved the UFC from the beginning. Like, I've been obsessed with the UFC. Well, I watch it. I've watched it all the time. Like, it's not like I just started watching it. So I knew what MMA was about. I knew that, like, the world stage for MMA is a lot higher than Muay Thai. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought, like, I've been putting my body on the line for years with Muay Thai, and I'm going to keep doing it because I love it. But, it's kind of that area, like, if I can make this a career and make good money, like, is that the step do you know what I mean? Is that the step I'm willing to take, right? So I had to think about it, like, a lot of things. So, and then I just got matched for my first fight, and after my debut, same thing like with Muay Thai, I just didn't look back. I was hooked.
Kept going. How was the feeling going into the first match?
Well, I had 5 pullouts.
Yeah, I heard about
my
it.
debut.
Wasn't one of them like 2 weeks or something before the fight?
I think
or
it was
something?
2 days, wasn't it, Chelsea?
So 2 days before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I had that first fight. I was matched for March last year, and then so I had 4 pullouts over a 10-week time frame, and then they matched me with this girl 6 weeks out. I was like, sweet, 6 weeks, like, that's enough time for her to prep. And then I cut the weight, I water loaded, I did everything to the point where, like, I woke up on the Wednesday morning the Friday morning weigh-in, and I was like only a kilo off weight, so I wouldn't have had to bath. Like I was so light.
Best feeling.
And I just remember Reese, my manager, called me at about like 11, 12 o'clock, and his voice straight away was just off. Like I just knew something was up, and I was like, oh, no, I got that wrong. Sorry, my dad actually told me. That's right. So Reese told my dad, and then he like
directly.
no, he's like, Dad, you do that, like, yeah. So I remember I had to drop Dad off to like his car that was getting serviced or something, and we were driving along, and he was not talking to me. Like I was like, there's something wrong with you. Like what is wrong with you? And I was already like pissed off because I was like starving myself. And I'm like, what is wrong? Anyway, so he was like, Chelsea, can you just pull over for a sec?
Oh,
I was like, yeah. So I pull over on the side of the road, and he's like, she pulled out, and I just screamed. Like I literally screamed. I was absolutely devastated. Like that prep, because it was my debut and my first fight in MMA. Like I gave it my all. Like I knew that I was coming into that fight, the less experienced fighter and all of this stuff. So I trained so hard, and I did like a 12-week camp. And to have 4 pullouts before her, I was just like so devastated.
Yeah. A lot of mental energy to go into that as well, in terms of like, I've only done like a couple of jiu-jitsu comps, and I've had to cut weight a couple of times, and I fully hate the sauna to fucking save my life. But even for me, I'm like 2 days out and I want to cry, basically.
Yeah. It's not just a physical strain; it is 100% mental as well, and it just took a toll. Like they tried to get me a girl 2 days notice. That's like, it's very rare that it happens. And it just didn't happen. So, but I stayed on weight all the way up until weigh-in just in case. Didn't happen, went straight to grilled, cried over a burger.
That's awesome.
I was like,
healthy burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love grilled hair. So, and then, my manager like made the trip from Sydney. We sat down, we talked about it. We were like, it's okay. It's just an obstacle. We'll get over it, and I'll match you straight away. So I got matched within like that next week, but it was 10 weeks away. Like that was the problem. Like I'd just done a 12-week camp, and now I'm not fighting until May. So I was like, I was really hoping I would get an opponent quicker for a shorter prep because I'd already done the work. So I literally went straight back into training and prepared for a May 25 fight. So when I got to that fight, I was so overcooked, man. Like I was like, it was like a 22, that was like a 22, 24 week camp. So I was so ready, like more than I've ever been. And literally, and then, walked into that fight. Yeah. Have you seen that fight?
Yeah, we watched it the other week. Come away with the draw.
You see my arm bar?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Sean said you were going to say, I reckon she'll say something about that.
Dude, it's so funny, like a year on, and still to this day, I get asked about it like multiple times a week. And I'm like, this will never leave me. Like, everyone's like, oh, but that arm bar, like, how did you get out of that? And I'm like, oh, dude, I don't actually know. I think I was just over flexible. But people say to me, like, did you feel that it was ever on? And I literally don't. Like, I know when you watch it back, it's like, oh, that's so close to snapping. Yeah. But when I was in that position, I never thought of it snapping. Like, I don't know if I was just like so delirious. Yeah. Or I remember taking 2 massive breaths, like just breathe, relax, and I waited for her to almost make a mistake or move to create space, and then I just capitalized on it. So, I mean, it took like 20 seconds too long. My mum and dad were having a heart attack, but so I mean, it happened. So, and then I ended up in a triangle, so I fucked myself even more. Yeah. Got myself in a triangle. That was actually tight. Like, I felt my face was about to pop, but like that wasn't, not once did I want to tap. Like I was like, I remember in my head, because it happened within like the first minute, I was like, dude, I literally walked into this fight like she's a striker, you know, like let's see a striking game, and I haven't even punched her in the face. Like, so I got like super pissed, and I just started like ground and pounding her while I was in the triangle. And then I headbutted the floor. I just fell forward off the punch and just full on headbutted the floor. And I was like, fuck me, like, what is going on? I can laugh about it now because it's so funny. When I watch it back, I just laugh. But, yeah, and then I got out of it. And then, yeah, after that, I was just over it. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to the ground again. F you. Like, I'm just going to strike the shit out of you. But, yeah, I 100% thought I won that fight. But I grabbed the fence. So,
yeah,
my bad.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you go from that, when you talk about someone trying to take you to the ground to your last fight with Nicole, she's obviously a ground game, and you absolutely dominate her in that sense in terms of, you know, there wasn't much that she could do to get you down. I know she had a couple of leg locks that she was going for. You escaped her that pretty easy. And then the trip at the end that just KO'd her pretty quick. See you later. Good night, Irene.
Real quick.
Dude, no. Yeah, that was okay. Like, when it happened, I just ran in and tried to land one more shot on her. The ref just, like, got in so quick and just pushed me away.
She was gone though. As soon as she hit the mat, it was like, oh.
Yeah. When I watched the replay, like her eyes, I was just like, dude, that's scary.
Yeah.
Probably congratulate you on sending her to Disneyland for that free trip. All expenses paid. Whew.
Yeah, and then I still people are like, oh, like how did that even happen? Like how did you actually knock her out? I'm like, well, if you watch the fight back, round one, she kicks me. And I do the exact same sweep, right? And then when she goes down, she lands flat on her back. And I remember when she got up so weirdly. Like, I was like, whoa, she got up real slow and kind of like it took the wind out of her a bit. And I was like, oh, well, that'll teach her a lesson not to kick me again because, like,
I love
that
that's
is
how
so...
you think.
Seriously, that's exactly how I thought. Yeah. And it's funny because coming from Muay Thai, that's my thing. Like, I'll catch your kicks and I'll sweep you or counter off them. Like, I love doing that. So I was like, yes, but like, she will not do that again. And then I went back to my corner and Dad goes to me, like, Dad and I, because he's coached me for so long, we literally like just think the same.
Yeah.
Right? So I go back and he was like, if she kicks you again, she's so stupid. Like, just grab it again and sweep her. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. I know. Like, I've already thought about that. Like, I've got this. And he's like, she probably won't. But, like, if she does, just keep sweeping her, keep taking her down. And I was like, yeah, cool. 8 seconds into round 2, and she does it. And I'm just like, and Dad just looks at me and he's like, see? I'm like, I know.
That's so cool. What was it feeling like at the end of that fight? Obviously, you go to a 2-fight win streak in MMA career, unbeaten.
Yeah,
say.
yeah. No, that was a really good feeling. That fight was a big fight to win because I actually think all of my opponents have been really high caliber. Like, they've, you know, Nicole, the one I just fought, she actually, I'm pretty sure, just got a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've only been fighting MMA for a year, and to come up and test myself against these girls, you know, with obviously an opposite strength, as you could call it, and hold my own and neglect takedowns and stuff just kind of shows, like, you know, the training I'm doing and the work I'm putting in every day is paying off and is working.
Yeah, that's dope. I mean, if I fought a brown belt right now, I'd be absolutely dusted. That's for sure. I got no hope against the purple belt, and I'm see you later. I guess that leads into the fight that's coming up. We're not too far out. It's on the 7th of March. Is that right?
Yeah, next Saturday night.
So how are we feeling about your opponent at the moment?
Yeah, I feel really good. She, I don't know that much about her, but I do know that she's like a veteran in MMA. This fight is her 9th professional fight, I think. So, you know, again, just another step up, a new level of toughness that I'm so ready for. She's been around for ages. She's fought Jessie Jess, Beck Rowling. She's fought some great chicks. Arlene, that, you know, they're in the UFC and Bellator now. So, I've prepped myself for her specifically. We've got a game plan. We know what we're going to do. And she's had 3 years off. So obviously the fights that I have done my homework on and I have watched of her are quite a long time ago. So they help, but they also don't, if you know what I mean. You know,
well,
like
she
3
hasn't
years
fought
is all.
since 2017, so she might have changed the game
Yeah,
a bit since then.
exactly. Like you can't judge someone from, you know, based on a fight that long ago. So there's key things that I can pick up that, you know, like traits that I think that she would still have. So that's something that I've looked over with like my dad, Vince, my coaches and my team. And yeah, I'm so ready. I actually think this is her first fight this light. The fights I've seen of her, she's fought around bantamweight, and she even went up to featherweight at one point. So, you know, she's a bigger girl, but I think maybe she's thinking if she comes down a division, you know, she's going to be the stronger person, or her opponents aren't going to be as strong. But unfortunately, that won't be the case with me.
I was going to say, how are we going to see it ended?
I'm always looking for a knockout, but I'm definitely a work rate fighter. So, because I come from a Muay Thai background, you know, if I don't get the knockout, my goal is to just wear you down over 3 rounds with work rate and pressure and just not let you breathe. So I also I really want to get a submission win. Like, that's the goal for me. So,
That'd be awesome.
I mean, it could be a knockout, it could be decision, submission, but I'm definitely going for that win.
Yeah, as long as you get the win, it doesn't matter, does it?
Exactly.
Chelsea, you've been pretty open about your goal of wanting to get a UFC contract. But just before that, like, do you look up at people like Valentina Shevchenko? I know you've been quoted saying that, you know, she's someone that you've idolized in the past, or you idolize now. Obviously, she's the current champion. How do you see that? How do you use that as inspiration for your fights?
I think I have been inspired from Valentina way back in Muay Thai days, because we obviously have both come from a Muay Thai background. And when I went to Bangkok for the World Championships, where I won the gold medal in 2015, the second one, I went in as a junior because I was only 16. But my weight division was the same as hers, and she was there. And if I wasn't a junior, I would have been in her division, which would have meant we would have fought. That's how tight it is, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I remember when we went there, and I was watching my teammates fight, and she was obviously fighting for Peru, and I was fighting for Australia. Yep. And I was just watching her warm up. We watched her fight, like. I've idolized her from back then. So for her to be where she is now, and for me to see that and kind of have followed that, and it hasn't been long, you know, like she went into the UFC and she's just absolutely dominated. So that is a major inspiration for me, because it doesn't feel not realistic, if you know what I mean. Like, I look at that. Unachievable. Yeah, unachievable. That's the word. Like, I look at that and I'm like, damn, like, I can do that. Like, I could get there.
The scary thing about Valentina is that on our last episode of the podcast, we had a little bit of discussion about how we can't believe every fight we watch, she just gets better. Her fight IQ is ridiculous. Yeah,
it's insane. Like, when I watch Valentina fight, like, my eyeballs do not blink. Like, I literally just stare at it. Like, Jake a couple of times is like, filmed me, because I just stare and I'm like, oh man, I'm picking up, like, I'm looking at everything she's doing, and she is just improving so much, like, and she's fighting very regularly, you know what I mean? So for her to be improving so rapidly and being so busy with fights is just a testament to how hard she works and how hard she trains. Like, I also look at the girls she's fought, and I mean, come on, like, her last fight, she walked over her. Yeah. You know, I just feel like she needs better competition. You know, the fact that I'm in the flyweight division and like the UFC is my goal.
Chelsea's calling out Valentina already.
I'm not, but like,
I'm sure she doesn't listen to the podcast, Chelsea. Yeah.
No, I mean, imagine if she did. Oh my God. I'm not kidding. I'd be like, no, backtrack. But
we'll cut it out for you.
No, but like, I just think it does. Obviously, because we're the same weight, and I watch her fight so closely, I'm always watching her opponents as well, and I'm just like, dude, like, you are doing everything wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
no, it's definitely, I love, getting inspiration from her, and I hopefully, like, that's my dream to fight her one day.
Yeah, that'd be
100%.
amazing. Well, it's like people are saying that they're fighting John Jones and they're like, John Jones is the person they idolized growing up and they're fighting John Jones.
Exactly.
And and they can't believe when they're in the ring, what happens when they're in the ring with John Jones. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of girls, when they come up against Valentina or even like Amanda Nunes, like, it's almost like that they're starstruck and then they kind of like can't really get their groove on sort of thing. So I can see how it would be hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely have to like separate the two. Like, you're there to like punch her in the face, not look up to her in for the next 25 minutes. So yeah, it's definitely my dream. And I know I'm still young, and like Valentina's actually like 34 or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm almost like, please don't go before I get there. Please don't go.
That'd be such a moment.
Yeah, and I do think, like, obviously because we both come from Muay Thai backgrounds, her fight experience is just through the roof compared to mine. But like, I do see similarities in striking and stuff like that. So that's why I get excited when I think about that could potentially be a fight, because I really believe it would be like a good showcase.
You got your fight coming up, but probably the last thing to talk about is obviously we talked about the start. You run an absolutely busy schedule. Mm-hmm. You've got your own business at the moment. You want to give that a plug and let the guys know out there what it is as well?
Yeah, so I run HammerFit. It's a like group training and personal training business. So I predominantly work with females. My group classes are all females, and then my PTs range between the two. And I started that when I was 17. So
wow.
I've been running that.
Chelsea's just doing everything before everyone else.
Yeah. Seriously though, actually we missed a bit, because you know how I said like I was super keen on Muay Thai and I like wanted to miss out on school. So in grade 11, so I'd won the 2 gold medals, like I was still at school. I'd won 2 years in a row the world championships, and then I hit grade 11, sat down with mum and dad, and I was just like, I'm like just not keen on school. Like, what I'm learning, I'm not going to do when I leave. My mum was actually a trainer at the time, and I'd watch her teach classes, and I'd just be like, that's so sick. Like, I'd love to do that. And I kind of like had that conversation with mum and dad, and at the start they were like, no, you're not dropping out. Like, piss off. Like, that's not happening.
This is the Muay Thai conversation all over again. I just want to start with 11 o'clock, guys.
Legit. But I'm like, guys, I've got 2 gold medals now. Like, come on.
Come on. Just wearing it everywhere.
Legit. And then it was about, like, probably a couple of weeks later, they sat me back down and they agreed. And they were like, if this is what you want to do, we'll fully support you. Just finish grade 11 and then we'll pull you out, but you have to go straight to study something. And I was like, yep, done, sweet. Like, so I finished grade 11, didn't do grade 12, went straight to do my certificate 3, 4 in fitness.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, my dad was running Y Sports. He had a gym for Y Sports at the time. Mum was teaching out of there. So then when I finished my cert, actually before I started just working at that gym, I got a job in a 24/7 gym, Google Globe, just to get like my experience up and stuff. And I was working at a cafe at the time, and training. Like, I was doing so much in that year that I would have been in grade 12. I remember my job at Globe just got so full on. They wanted me doing more classes because the girls loved it. So I like quit my cafe job and just went full time at this gym. And then I started HammerFit while I was working at this gym, and it was just on the side, and I was doing that at Dad's gym. And then, the owners of Globe sat me down and were like, we know that some of the members here are going to you and going to HammerFit as well. And I was like, well, I can't help it. Like, I'm not going to tell them what to do. Like, and you can't either, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not plugging my business here, but they are asking me, like, what else I do, so I'll tell them, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they weren't happy with it, and I just said, look, I think it's best for me to go there. And, like, my HammerFit business was, like, I got to the point where I didn't really need Globe anymore. I was just there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I was kind of happy to leave. So yeah, I was 17 and went full on into Hammerfit and have done that ever since.
Mate, year 12 is not going to teach you how to hustle, and I think you've got that down pat.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's so true.
I think the only thing I don't know is where did the nickname the Hammer come from?
Oh, so that came when I was 12. I just started Muay Thai. And one of our family's friends who was actually another one of my coaches at the time, we were super close. He was like a second dad to me. And he randomly just called me the Hammer. Like after one training session, he was like, yeah, you're the Hammer. And I was like, oh, I hate that. Like straight away. Nah.
That's what
straight away I was like, I really hate that. And he kept calling me it like for months, like the Hammer. And then I was like, I started kind of like, I was like, oh, it's not that bad. And then everyone back then was like wanting fight names.
Yeah. And
I filled out this like fighter form for my first fight, and it said, you know, name, fight name, surname. And then my Jimmy at the time, my coach was like, Hammer. She's like, just do Hammer. And I was like, fine. So I did it, and I regretted it for like the first 10 fights. Hey, like I hated it. And then when I was, working full time at Globe, then I wanted to start my own PT business. I was like, what should I call it? And then it just came to me. I was like, Hammer Fit. Like that kind of like ring, like that's cool.
Yeah,
that would work.
Name when you think about it.
yeah.
Yeah, and because it's got a background, obviously. So I was like, all right, I'll just do Hammer Fit. And then now I've got bloody Hammer tattooed on my ribs. So
Who's got the last laugh there? Obviously he has.
exactly. So, I mean, yeah, I'm warm to it, obviously.
Oh, funny. Oh, that's so cool.
One more thing
awesome.
before you go, Charles.
Yeah.
We do a lot of predictions on podcast. So if there's a pay-per-view coming up, we'd love to get a tip on the Adesanya versus Yoel Romero fight. If you could help us out with that one.
Not so exciting. Like, the thing that's so exciting is that it's the day after my fight. Like, I'll fight Saturday night, and then they're fighting, so I can, like, eat whatever I want and drink.
It's a good
like, that's all I'm
bennies.
thinking about. How good. Like, okay, so I'm, like, a huge fan of Israel. Hey, like,
he's crazy.
He's insane. His skills are just next level. So, but then Yoel is like, oh my God, like the toughest guy ever.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, so, and like he's got great wrestling.
Yeah.
So my prediction is Israel. I think Israel will keep him, you know, he'll be working in the gym, just keeping him at arm's length and legs length at all times and not letting him slip under his punches. So I think if Israel sticks to that game and stays long, he will 100% have success. But yeah, it's just if he lets Yoel in, because Yoel's shorter too, so he could duck under him like so quickly. Yeah, we'll see. But my prediction is Israel, and I think it could be a knockout.
Did you attend UFC 243 in Melbourne?
Yeah, I did.
I saw on you. Weren't you over there just to wait for someone to pull out so we could see her on the cart?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of dogs. No one pulled out. We wish someone missed weight.
No, guess what though? Someone did pull out. So I got there and I put that post up, and then that night Holly Holm pulled out.
Oh, she did.
Yeah,
did.
that's
And
right.
she did against Raquel Pennington, and Raquel was already there. And I was like to Dad, I'll fight her. Like, I've seen her fight. Like, I was like, I'll fight her. Plus, it was a heavier weight, bantamweight, 61.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when I was in Melbourne, like, I was sitting at, like, 62 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this could actually work. Like, I remember texting Reese. My dad texted Reese and was like, yeah, let's see if we can work this. Like, fully knowing that it would never happen to this random chick in Melbourne. Like,
Dana, shoot me a one fight contract. I'll get it done.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I'll prove to you that, like, you want more of this. But, like, yeah, I actually went there I was supposed to fight on Eternal in Melbourne the day before.
Yeah.
And Nicole pulled out. So we still had flights and stuff. So we went there and Oh, the UFC show was just hectic. It was amazing.
It was good. We were there too. It was we had some good seats too. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, how good was it? The atmosphere.
Looking forward to Perth. Let's hope they bump you up to that.
We'll wait till there you go, mate. You can wait till JoJo pulls out.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Oh,
and then you can have Valentina all to yourself straight up.
I've actually a couple of people have sent me that fight, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, Joanna pulls out. I'm like, "Oh, dude, like imagine that, my UFC debut for the title." Like,
Crazy.
Okay. We'll have to go a run it back mission to get some extra Maccas into JoJo over the next couple of weeks.
Plan a pull out somehow. Just kids over something. Just overweight.
The
Something
boys in there just
something.
tripping her over in the hotel room. No biggie.
But yeah, when I saw that Perth card get released, I was like, damn, that would be amazing. I mean, it's very soon, so
yeah.
Close.
Well, Chelsea, we really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
It was awesome. Thank you so much.
And we wish you so much luck for your fight. We're going to be watching. We're going to be super excited about that. So we'll definitely be cheering you on hard. But thanks for joining us on the Run It Back podcast.
So cool. Thanks for having me, guys. Till next time.
Excellent. Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Bye.